Welcome to Sotokler Sessions, a podcast where design, art, and architecture come together through conversation. I am Victor Sobra, co-founder of Sotokler Studio in Rome, Italy. From here, we help interior designers around the world bring projects to life by sourcing vintage design and creating custom furniture and fixtures with local ateliers and galleries. Our work is rooted in access, in opening doors to objects, places, and people that are not always easy to find. But in this podcast, the focus is on the talents behind it all. Each week, I sit down with designers, architects, gallerists, and creators from across the globe. Together, we explore their journeys, the turning points in their careers, and the ideas that shape how they see and make. This week on Sotokler Sessions, I had the pleasure to have a conversation with Marc Romero, an interior designer based in Berlin, working as well in Barcelona. Marc grew up in a small Catalan town near the Pyrenees. That upbringing still runs through everything he does. A strong sense of community, a deep connection to nature, and a truly instinctive relationship with materials. And when it comes to design, everything with him has weight, texture, and purpose. We spoke about how Berlin changed him. He arrived there young, alone, with a camera and no safety net. The city shaped him as a person and as a professional, giving him rigor, precision, and confidence without ever erasing his Mediterranean identity. And his interiors remain warm, organic, and intuitive. We also talked about his slow design approach with, at its core, empathy and intention. I am Catalan as well, but from the other side of the border, from Perpignan in French Catalonia, and that shared culture made this conversation feel immediate and even more familiar to me. A conversation I hope you will enjoy as well. See you on the other side. Hi Marc, thank you so much for taking the time and welcome to this episode. How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you. Thanks so much for having me. I'm really excited about this.
Of course, thanks for taking the time. So that was always fascinating since the first time we ever talked a couple of years ago on your philosophy and how kind of like slow travel is a thing now, slow food is a thing now. I feel like you're doing slow design, meaning that you really have a very peculiar philosophy when it comes to choosing your projects, choosing your clients. What led you to that decision, to this philosophy, and what does this slower rhythm give you both creatively and I imagine, of course, personally as well?
Yeah, so it was an approach that I actually took from the fact that I'm actually self-made. So when I started within the field of interior design, I was really trying to get the best workflow with the clients and trying to like always made the best out of it and really try to listen to them. So I was noticing that if I would take so many projects at the same time, it would just be basically impossible to handle because I was doing everything by myself. So it was first just a way of like being safe, but that took me into the way of really having the time to like talk to the clients and to really understand them. And I kept on going on that way, so I have enough time to really understand what they need and to really empathize with them and get a proper understanding of what's their situation in life. So then we can really work on the home for them. So just to find the things and the objects and the style and everything that really makes sense for them. I want to make sure that they feel comfortable and that they feel also like empowered within the process itself. So they also have the chance to give their opinions, to make as many changes as they need, but always within a time frame that we make sure that everything is efficient. So with, let's say, time pressure in a way, everything kind of like always works more smoothly.
What kind of details, maybe materials, do you naturally gravitate toward, you would say?
So I always go for natural materials. So everything that has been resourced within nature, it's something that I gravitate towards. I definitely use a lot of wood, but I love to use clay. I love to use linen, cotton, everything that it just comes from nature. Everything just works together, I would say. So also when it comes to the colors, I also use just earthy tones and keeping everything Mediterranean in a way. So because that's what makes me feel home as well in the end.
Let's get right into maybe what is your signature, because you just said in very distinguishable elements of your designs. Do you think it's intentional, or do you think it just happened because it's your natural taste?
I think it's a mix of everything. So I've been doing everything by intuition in the end. Like being an interior designer itself just came naturally in a way as well to me. So I kept on just building myself and the style within intuition. But I always, as I said, gravitate towards natural tones. So in the end, I would say that when the interior has a way of minimalism, but a touch still of like this Mediterranean touch. So like the textures, you can see a bit of roughness, you can see curves everywhere. I'm super inspired by Antoni Gaudí, for example, with organic shapes and really curves shaped by nature. So I think that the arch can also become slowly something that I've been working on, like creating arches within the spaces. I've done already maybe like 10 projects with arches. Actually, the last one we're working on right now, we're also building like a triple arch in the living room and also the wall that divides with the bedroom. So I think that that could be the touches that kind of for now shape my style. But as I said, I'm still evolving and I'm still like going on with the inspiration and all the intuition that comes up. So I will keep on shaping with whatever comes, let's say. But I think this is the base for now.
And what parts of your Catalan upbringing you think show up in the choices you make? You talked about Gaudi, which is the Catalan reference.
I would say definitely the sense of community. I think that the sense of like being a family, being a community, and living in a space that it's bathed by nature and tradition and identity, this is definitely something that I carry on in my roots and in my soul. So I think that that's definitely one thing that I will always keep with me and that I want to reflect as well with the projects.
Interesting. But now you're in Berlin, no? You moved in Berlin a couple of years ago.
Yeah, 7 already. Yeah, time flies
Seven,
actually.
wow. Do you feel your style has changed in any way since living in Berlin, in Germany? Maybe the way you work, you're very precise, so maybe you got
I got the German efficiency, maybe. Definitely that played a huge role. But I would say that, I've been shaping myself in Berlin. So before coming to Berlin, I was still 21. I just came out of school, basically. I just finished my studies. So I was still shaping myself as a human being, not even as a creative, right? Um, I would say that Berlin shaped me in every sense. So I've spent most of my 20s now in this city, and Berlin is a city that really exposes you to everything, every extreme possible and everything in between. So I think that being in this city, it's impressively inspiring because you meet people from every single corner of this planet and you get to become a family with these people. And it's just impressive to see the variety that we have in this world and the beauty of it, and really also with the clients that I've had, I think, from all of the projects I've had, I would say from all of the continents already. And yeah, like it's crazy. Like all of my clients have been international expats because in the end, Berlin, it's based on that. Like there is so many expats here. The community is massive. So it's really just like a continuous learning from everyone and a continuous learning from oneself as well. So I would say that the style itself just came with me in a way because as I said, I've just been like creating things that just feels home to me, and this is Catalan tradition, Mediterranean style, and working with like Mediterranean resources from Portugal, from Greece, from Italy.
maybe.
Um, so yeah, it's something that I've been like really shaping slowly, and I'm really proud and happy of how everything is turning out slowly. But I would say that Berlin definitely shaped me more as a professional, and as a person than as a style itself. So
What brought you there? A project, maybe a person, a feeling, I don't know.
So back in Barcelona, what I was living. So my family actually is not from Barcelona. My family lives in the mountains next to the Pyrenees. It's like 1.5 hours away from Barcelona. It's called Cardona. So Cardona is like this is a small town. We are just above 4,000 people. So it's basically a village. It's very, very small. And being there as a child, being like raised in such a town, gave me the feeling of like just dreaming about the big city and dreaming about the freedom of living in a big space with, you know, with other people, and like being an expat actually in the end. So I was, as a kid, always dreaming of this feeling of just like traveling and being exposed and doing exactly what I'm doing right now in a way. So when I moved to Barcelona when I was 18 and I was studying for 4 years, I was learning and shaping myself within a big city. But I mean, Barcelona is still quite small. I mean, Berlin, it's 9 times Barcelona. So it was quite an upgrade when it comes to like size. um, so moving to Barcelona kind of opened my eyes of like what it means to be independent and to be unknown, because in the end, in the small town, everyone knows you. So you need to still be within that idea of who you are. But when you live in a big city, you can actually try and, just explore and just be yourself in the end. Like you don't need to like keep on going with the same role, but you can really like try new roles and,
Reinvent
be
yourself every day, yeah.
exactly invent yourself and like really expose yourself to other people that you would not be exposed in a small town. So this even grew bigger, this dream of like living abroad. So when I finished my studies, I definitely wanted to take the move and go somewhere. I just didn't know where. Because I was thinking, okay, well, Europe, it's easy because within Europe, it's just super easy to move around without a visa. So um, I was like, okay, first move will be for sure in Europe. So I applied to Erasmus back in my school of cinematography. But funny enough, my English was not good enough for them, so they decided not to give me the payment. So I was like, okay, then I'll just go by myself.
Maybe for listeners who are not Europeans, Erasmus is a program by the European Union to enable students to do students exchanges in different countries in Europe, right?
Correct, correct. Yeah. So basically, yeah, I was really nervous within during the interview and so on, and I just blanked out. And I was learning English. I was already within almost the advanced level, but this was such an important point for me, like important step for me in the life, that I just blanked. I was really, I just blocked, and that was meant to be in the end. Because if I would have got that Erasmus payment, then most likely I would not be here right now, because I would have just come to Berlin. I would have had everything like prepared for me for like a few months and then get back to Spain, most likely. But during those months, I actually had to survive because I decided to, as I said, like just to go with one of my friends. I got the Erasmus. Um, and I took a one-way ticket to Berlin with my camera, with my laptop, because I was a photographer back then. I was never in Germany before. I knew nothing about Berlin. I didn't speak German, obviously. So it was like, I don't know, like just a rush. So I just like kind of ran away in a way.
And the rest is history. I mean, now look at you.
And the rest is history. Just like it was a complete journey in every sense. And I'm just so grateful that I took that step. It's incredible.
You studied cinematography, you're also
Hmm.
a photographer, you also a
Hmm.
render artist. So
Hmm.
how does all of in French we say the different casquettes, no? The different
Hmm.
different hats you have,
Yeah.
different roles you can have in life and as a creative. How do you
Yeah.
think this help you communicate better about maybe your vision about a space or, better express yourself to a client?
Hmm. Definitely the sense of texture, light, space, and colors in general just was a training throughout my studies and throughout the time that I was working as a photographer, as a TV cameraman, I was doing multiple jobs within the field. So that was a training that now I apply for my project. So this concept of how the space is going to look like, how the textures are going to feel like, and how the light is going to play a role in it,
Mm.
that came with it. So I think that mainly the light is the main topic that really moves everything for my projects, and I still keep that. So yeah, as a photographer, I learned how to capture the light, and as an interior designer, I learned how to use the light to create the ambience and to create the feeling
Interesting.
of a space.
And right now, most of your projects, I mean, you talk a lot about light, but I imagine that the light is completely different in Berlin than in
Hmm.
Barcelona.
Totally.
Do you work more in Berlin, I suppose, right, than Barcelona?
Yeah, so since the last over 6 years now that I've been building up my studio, I've been based in Berlin. I did projects in Amsterdam and in Barcelona actually, as well in parallel. So I was slowly already kind of like expanding the experience to other countries. But it's just much easier to be based first in a city and then like trying to like build up that. So Berlin has been my base for now, and I would say 85% of my projects have been in Berlin. And now slowly I'm actively doing more in Barcelona. So since last year, I've opened now in Barcelona as well the studio, and making also marketing in there and strategy to like reach out to providers and building up the community for for like artisans to work with, and just making the whole like settling the ground, let's say, to really moving slowly
I mean,
maybe back, or like, you know, keeping this balance between Barcelona and Berlin. So right now I'm offering services in both cities, and I'm actively working in both.
now, Mark, I propose we play a game. So we do these like rapid fire questions, okay?
Yeah.
The first one, a material you always turn to,
Wood, always. There is always wood in my projects.
a building you dream of reimagining.
Casa Batlló in Barcelona in the Passeig de Gràcia. This is a building that inspired me a lot. The level of detail of this building is impressive, and I would love to bring it into the current style, let's say, because in the end, all of the furniture and everything, it's all with the modernism
Mhm.
style. So it's really, really wonderful, the amount of details and the imaginary in that building. So I would say that one would be the one.
Okay, a city that continues to shape your instincts.
Barcelona, without a doubt.
I would have never guessed that, huh?
That was an easy one.
A design detail in an interior that you always notice.
The joinery. I think it's super important how wood is joined together and how the hardware of furniture it's designed. So I think that really the joinery in every design piece is key to tell if that's properly thought or if it has been quickly built.
Interesting. And now the last one, a piece of advice you return to every time you have a doubt.
Find your craft and master it. I think that this is something that I've been trying to like really like tell to myself, because as you said, I've been working as photographer, as cinematographer, as render designer, as now interior designer, and at some point I was selling myself as all of that at the same time.
Oh.
And my partner Nico, he told me once, because I was struggling, I was not getting clients, and I wasn't sure how to sell myself. That was when I started with the studio. He told me this. He was like, just find one craft and master it. And I take that as the key point to like keep on going on, like really just focusing on one thing, which is interior design, and still using the resources of the other topics, but just selling one craft to the client and really just being the master of it.
And what made you choose interior design?
Well, it was something that kind of slowly came to me, but it was really the pandemic that really shifted me to take the decision, actually.
Oh.
When I came to Berlin in 2018, it was a time when I was still just focused on photography. So I was trying to like just find projects within this field. And then for the first 2 years, I was just working within the gastronomy field, mainly taking pictures of restaurants and the food and events, and then actors that I would meet and so on. I would make like headshots and so on with them. And throughout this gastronomy context that I was having, I started making already like a bit of like suggestions for like the space and like how could we arrange the space and so on. And then during the pandemic, one of these restaurants was expanding, and like they basically built a bigger space, and they asked me to help them to create the whole concept. And I was like, sure, why not? I mean, it was pandemic, we had nothing to do, and I needed to also like get more work. So I was like, sure, let's figure it out. And I was telling them, I mean, I'm a photographer, you know that, but I'm sure we can figure it out. And they were like, yeah, you're a creative, we like your style, maybe we can figure it out. So this collaboration really
Thing.
shifted my approach. And then I was with them for a few months, like just building the restaurant and like trying to find the right materials for them. I learned how to make renders so I could decide how much space would be between the tables. And I was obviously researching on YouTube and on Google, and, you know, like just trying to like figure out what space you should have between the tables, because it's something that obviously it's not logic, right? So
No.
just having this type of like information, just self-research and so on, and making it for them, it was just fun for me. And then through these, I was posting on social media, and then other friends that just opened an ice cream shop were like, hey, we also need help. Come and help us. And I was like, sure, let's do it. And then that was my second project. And then out of that, I was rearranging my current apartment, and I was rearranging a friend's apartment. And I took pictures of the two residential projects and of the two commercial projects. And I made a website out of it. And then it's when I was selling myself as photographer, interior designer, blah, 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 you know. And then it's when Nico was like, just focus on one thing. This is too many things, like on my CV was a mess. So I was like, okay, let's just go for interior design. And I did that. I got an amazing client, Alex Walsh. I'm so grateful for her that she gave me the chance to build, make the concept for the office in Berlin for their company. They liked it so much that they sent me to Amsterdam to build their office there as well. And then I was with them for a month in Amsterdam. And then when we finished that, we did the one in Barcelona as well, in Poblenou. So that was like eye-opening to me to be like, if I was able to do this, I can do anything. So I just kept on going, and it just everything slowly growing.
So
Yeah.
you started with commercial projects. Today, do you think you do more residential or commercial projects?
Residential fully. I'm fully focused on residential. I still enjoy making commercial, sorry, but residential, it just makes way more sense because I work this one-to-one personal approach. And in the end, with a commercial space, you can create a concept, but you don't know who's going to be there. So I think it's really important. I mean, you can know the team maybe, but you don't know the client, you don't know, the whole approach. So it would be more of a generic concept, which I don't enjoy as much, just creating it for that family or for that one single person.
Mm. And what is maybe a commercial project you never did and you want to do? Have you ever done a hotel, for instance?
Oof, that would be quite a challenge, but I think it would be really amazing to be able to make such projects. But as I said, I really genuinely enjoy making residentials and creating homes for people. So yeah, I think I'm gonna stay with that for now, at least. I'm always open for new things to come out, but for now, I really love to just focus on residential projects.
Let's manifest it as we're,
Yeah,
it's
it's
possible.
exactly.
Now, looking forward, Marc, are there design questions, the famous design d'aller,
Mhm.
that you're still wrestling with after all of this time working as an interior designer?
Yeah, actually, it's actually related as well to Sotokler Studio because I definitely want to work more with vintage pieces, and I think that's something that I've been for now keeping on the side because first I didn't have the knowledge enough to like appreciate vintage pieces and to really like try to have an understanding of what that means and also to teach the client what that means to have a vintage piece
Mm.
and the value behind it. So I think that this is something that I generally want to focus on in the next projects and slowly adding more vintage pieces and making this cohesive mix of modern items also with vintage pieces. I'm actually excited about my trip next week to Paris because I'm going to be visiting the vintage markets and really just like trying to get more inspiration out of it.
We find the challenge as well for most of our clients who use us to source the right vintage piece is to give them the tools to educate their own clients, that often maybe are
Mhm.
more reluctant to understand the history, the heritage behind a specific design.
Right now, actually, we're working with a client that he genuinely loves mid-century pieces, and this has been already the first step towards using more items that are already like originals from back in the 60s and 50s and so on, which is wonderful.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
Mark, if someone is listening to us and wants to reach out to you, what's the best way to reach out to you?
Well, easily on my website, just look for me on Google, Marc Romero Interiors, and I'm gonna pop up in there, and just send me a message, send me a form or request for 30 minutes for free, and we can talk about the next project.
Amazing. I hope they get selected. I know there's
For sure, for sure. I'm quite sure.
Mark, thank you so much for your time. What a wonderful conversation.
Thank you so much for having me. It was really, really nice to
And
talk to you today.
and see you around in Germany or on the shores of our beloved Catalonia. For the people who don't know, I'm from Perpignan, so I'm actually French but Catalan.
We're basically family as well.
Termaz, no? We're
Yeah, we're Germans, exactly.
Thank you, Mark.
Muchas gracias. Ciao, ciao. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode. We hope you enjoyed it. You can find more information about us on sotoklerstudio.com. Thank you.
What is your definition of design, Monsieur Eames?
One could describe
Saudi
design
and
as a
like
plan
the
for
the
arranging
Venetian. So we created the dialogue between them,
Cioè tu
and
entrando
we
qui hai
didn't
la
try to
sensazione di entrare a
play.
casa mia. Ed è
When it
quello che mi
comes to
piace
the
fare,
emotional
accogliere le
attachment of that,
persone che mi vengono a trovare.
I
come
get really attached to the
veramente una
flow
casa.
of homes.
E